Your parents' house is rotting right now while they're living in it. 39% of baby boomers just admitted they can no longer maintain their homes. That's 9 million houses quietly falling apart across America. And here's the part that should terrify you. Those homes are about to flood the market all at once. 2030, 2032, 2035. Millions of homes hitting the same narrow time window. Everyone thinks this will finally crash prices. Everyone thinks millennials will finally afford homes. Everyone is wrong. Because these aren't going to be move-in ready starter homes. They're going to be money pits with $100,000 repair bills, hitting neighborhoods that nobody wants to live in anymore. This is not the silver tsunami you've been promised. This is the zombie apocalypse, and it's going to destroy property values in half of America, while the other half gets even more expensive. If you own a home in the wrong place, you're about to lose everything. If you're waiting to buy, you're waiting for a disaster that won't help you. And if you're counting on inheriting your parents' equity, you're inheriting their debt. Over the next 20 minutes, we're going to identify the exact regions where property values will collapse, show you how the healthcare system is stealing your inheritance right now, and explain why the Federal Reserve is completely powerless to stop any of this. The silver tsunami theory assumes older homeowners can easily decide to sell. The truth is the opposite. Boomers are trapped by financial and emotional locks that make staying put the only option. The clearest trap is the mortgage lock. Millions of boomers refinanced between 2010 and 2021, locking in mortgages around 3%. Meet Barbara from Tampa. She's 72, bought her house in 1996 for $180,000. Today, it's worth $520,000. But Barbara refinanced in 2020 at 2.8%. Her mortgage payment is $1,400 a month. If she sells and downsizes into a smaller condo for $350,000 at today's 7% rate, her new payment jumps to $2,300. Barbara cannot afford to downsize. She's trapped, and she's not alone. 4.7 million homeowners face the exact same math. Downsizing has become a financial penalty. Then there's the tax trap. Boomers who bought in the 90s often sit on hundreds of thousands of dollars of appreciation. When they sell, any gain beyond $250,000 for singles and $500,000 for couples becomes taxable. And the emotional lock. The median boomer has been in their home 17 years. These homes contain decades of memories, daily routines, and community networks. Even homeowners who could afford to move simply don't want to uproot their life. Senior housing now commands $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Very few want to trade a paid-off home for a small apartment in a facility. All of these forces create one outcome. Older homeowners do not move. Surveys show 61% of boomers plan to stay in their homes for the rest of their lives. Not because staying is ideal, but because every option outside the front door is worse. The result is a nationwide freeze. Even as home prices rose roughly 40% since 2020, inventory shrank to near 40-year lows. This is a systemic lock-in effect that immobilizes roughly 9 million homes. But the lock-in is just the beginning. Because even if boomers could sell, many of their homes are secretly worthless. They're rotting from the inside out. When 39% of boomers say they can no longer maintain their homes, they are describing houses entering the failure phase of their life cycle. The median home in the United States is now about 40 years old. Roofs installed in the late 90s are reaching the end of their lifespan. HVAC systems are breaking down, and replacement costs have soared far faster than inflation. A roof that once cost $20,000 now costs $40,000 to $50,000. By the early 2030s, that could be $60,000 to $80,000 or more. Because many older homeowners live on fixed incomes, major repairs get delayed. That delay compounds. A failing roof allows moisture intrusion. Moisture leads to mold. Mold leads to drywall replacement, insulation replacement, complete remediation. The cost of repairing a long-neglected home can easily exceed $100,000. Robert inherited his mother's house in Phoenix in 2023. The Zillow estimate said $480,000. When the inspector arrived, they found a 25-year-old roof actively leaking, an HVAC system from 1998, knob and tube wiring from the 1970s, and a foundation with serious settling cracks. Repair estimate? $187,000. Robert put the house on the market for $430,000. It sat for 11 months. 0 offers. He finally sold it for $310,000 to a cash investor. That's $170,000 in value just gone. Because houses don't age like wine, they age like milk. When these homes finally reach the market, first-time buyers face an impossible equation. They're stretched thin at closing. They cannot absorb an additional $100,000 in repairs. Yet listing prices reflect neighborhood averages, not the actual condition behind the walls. That is how zombie markets form. Homes remain on the books, but they are not truly viable. They sit in limbo, aging, declining, quietly losing value. Millions of these homes are moving toward a synchronized breakdown in the early to mid-2030s. When they all hit the market at once, the issue will not be too much supply. The issue will be that too much of the supply is degraded beyond what entry-level buyers can handle. The silver tsunami will be a release of rotting stock that drags down surrounding values. Now you understand why 9 million homes won't save you. But here's the question nobody's asking. Which cities will survive this, and which will collapse? The coming housing disruption will not strike the country evenly. Florida's retirement corridors stand at the top of the risk list. The Villages, Naples, Fort Myers, Sarasota, median ages in the high 60s. These areas attract retirees, not workers. When baby boomers in these regions begin leaving en masse, the market will face a surge in listings and a shortage of buyers. Analysts estimate certain counties could see inventory rise 30 to 40% between 2030 and 2036, levels no local market can absorb without severe price drops. Arizona's Sun Belt suburbs face similar vulnerabilities. Scottsdale, Mesa, Tucson, large pockets of aging homeowners in homes approaching the age where major repairs are unavoidable. The Rust Belt is even worse. Rural counties in upstate New York, Ohio, Michigan, and Pennsylvania have aging populations, stagnant job markets, and minimal inbound migration. Inland California follows this pattern. Riverside, San Bernardino, and the Central Valley lack the constant influx of young workers seen in coastal metros. In sharp contrast, tech and job growth hubs like Austin, Raleigh-Durham, Seattle, Denver, and Charlotte attract young professionals and maintain growing workforces. Even if older homeowners leave, their properties get absorbed. Nashville, Boise, and parts of the Carolinas continue drawing in younger populations at rates above the national average. The geographic trap is brutal. Boomers own massive numbers of homes in markets where younger buyers do not want to live. The mismatch is spatial. And when 9 million homes unlock between 2030 and 2035, the real damage will stem from the unequal distribution. Let me paint you a picture of what 2033 looks like in Tampa. January 2033. 3,000 homes hit the market in Hillsborough County, all within 90 days, all from estates, all needing major repairs. Average days on market, 240. Price reductions start at 15%, then 22, then 30. Buyers aren't biting because every inspection reveals $80,000 to $150,000 in deferred maintenance, rotting roofs, dead HVAC, electrical panels from the Reagan era. The homes that do sell go to cash investors at 40% below 2025 peak prices. Those investors gut them, slap on cheap finishes, and rent them out. Then they wait. Meanwhile, the homeowners who are still alive in that neighborhood, they just watched their net worth crater. Not because they did anything wrong, because their neighbors all died at the same time. Their homes haven't changed, but the comps just collapsed. Their equity evaporated overnight. That's not a market correction. That's a localized collapse. And it's coming to 30% of American zip codes simultaneously. Now multiply Tampa by Phoenix, by Fort Myers, by Sun City, by every retirement-heavy suburb from Scottsdale to Sarasota, all hitting at once, all between 2030 and 2036. The silver tsunami isn't a myth because it's not coming. It's a myth because when it arrives, it won't look like opportunity. It will look like Detroit. Except this time, it's happening to a third of the country at the same time. We just identified the red zones, but now comes the most brutal part. Even if you do inherit a house, you won't actually get the house. The system has already claimed it. For years, analysts have talked about the Great Wealth Transfer, the idea that boomers will pass down $84 trillion to their heirs. And for most families, it is complete fiction. The bulk of that wealth is tied to home equity, and home equity is being devoured long before it transfers. The median boomer homeowner has about $280,000 locked in their home, but that equity is already earmarked for costs that arrive late in life. Assisted living now averages more than $64,000 per year. Nursing home care costs exceed $116,000. The typical length of stay is around 2.5 years. That wipes out as much as $300,000, more than the median home equity, before the homeowner even passes away. Linda's parents promised her the family home in Scottsdale. It was appraised at $650,000 in 2019. Then, her father got dementia. Nursing home care cost $9,200 per month. After 3 years, they'd burned through $331,000. They took out a reverse mortgage to cover the bills. Balance at death, $140,000. Medicaid covered the last 18 months. The state filed an estate recovery lien for $88,000. The house needed $60,000 in repairs before it could even be listed. New roof, new HVAC, mold remediation, updated electrical. By the time Linda inherited, there was $21,000 left, from $650,000 to $21,000. That's not an inheritance, that's a rounding error. Reverse mortgages erode wealth slowly. Around 13% of seniors have them, with an average outstanding balance at death exceeding $120,000. For many families, the inheritance is gone before the estate is even opened. Medicaid compounds the issue. When seniors use Medicaid to cover nursing home costs, states can reclaim expenses through estate recovery. The government places a lien on the home and can force its sale after death. Many heirs learn about the lien only after the funeral. End-of-life medical expenses pile on top. The final year of life costs around $80,000 on average. Families often use home equity lines to bridge the gap. And then there is the physical deterioration. A home not updated in 20 years may need $50,000 in roofing, $20,000 in HVAC, $20,000 to $60,000 in plumbing and electrical, and tens of thousands more in modernization. Many heirs discover the home is not a valuable asset. It is a 6-figure repair project wrapped in debt. By the time all these forces finish their work, the expected inheritance has already been spent by healthcare costs, long-term care facilities, reverse mortgage lenders, Medicaid recovery programs, and decades of deferred maintenance. The transfer is not generational, it is industrial. Industries extract the wealth, not the families. Most economic problems can be eased through monetary policy, but the current crisis is not a standard supply and demand imbalance. It is a demographic trap, and demographics do not respond to interest rate adjustments. Lowering interest rates does not unlock boomer homes. It encourages refinances, not moves. Lower rates make the lock-in effect tighter. Raising rates does not create mobility either. High rates price out younger buyers and make downsizing even more financially punishing. A homeowner with a 3% mortgage will not trade it for a 7% mortgage. This creates a paradox where both higher and lower rates freeze the market. 61% of older homeowners have already said they will never sell by choice. The Federal Reserve cannot influence that decision. And here's what makes this even more dangerous. This is happening right as recession risk is peaking. The Fed might have to lower rates in 2026 or 2027 to fight recession, but that demand will all flow into the winner cities: Austin, Raleigh, Denver, Nashville. The loser cities, Sun City, Rust Belt suburbs, inland exurbs, won't see any relief. Because the problem there isn't affordability, it's that nobody wants to live there anymore. Job growth is in the urban cores. Remote work killed the value of far-flung suburbs. Climate risk is making Sunbelt retirement towns uninsurable. So you get a perverse outcome. Lower rates make expensive cities more expensive, while zombie cities keep declining. Jerome Powell can print money. He cannot print young homeowners. He cannot print jobs in Tampa retirement communities. He cannot print climate resilience in Arizona exurbs. The path forward is not comfortable. For boomers, the window to sell at peak value is closing fast. Homeowners between 65 and 70 have perhaps 2 to 3 years before the death wave accelerates. Early sellers capture higher values. Late sellers fight for buyers in a flooded market. For millennials and Gen X buyers, waiting for a silver tsunami discount is a losing strategy. The homes that enter the market will be large, outdated properties in regions where job growth is limited and maintenance costs are crushing. Instead, prioritize markets with strong economic fundamentals. Raleigh-Durham, Nashville, Denver, Austin, and Boise remain healthier, long-term bets. Be cautious in aging regions such as Florida retirement towns, Arizona exurbs, inland California suburbs, and shrinking Rust Belt counties. So let's be crystal clear about what's actually happening. The silver tsunami was canceled, not because boomers are greedy, because the system locked them in place with 3% mortgages, capital gains taxes, and $10,000 a month nursing homes. The great wealth transfer is being robbed, not by inheritance taxes, by healthcare companies, reverse mortgage lenders, Medicaid recovery, and roofs that cost $80,000 to replace. And the housing crash that everyone's waiting for? It's coming, but only in the places nobody wants to live. Meanwhile, the cities you actually want to buy in, they're going to get more expensive. Forever. This is not a housing market anymore. This is a sorting mechanism. It's separating America into winner cities and loser cities, growing metros and dying suburbs. 9 million homes are coming, but they won't save you. They'll bury the neighborhoods they land in. If you're in the right place, you survive. If you're in the wrong place, you watch your equity evaporate in real time while your property taxes keep climbing on an asset nobody wants. The trap is set. The wave is building. And the 2035 crash isn't going to look like 2008. It's going to look like Detroit. Except this time, it's happening to 30% of America at once. You're not inheriting a house. You're inheriting liens, loans, medical bills, and $100,000 in repairs. And the market knows it. If this video just changed how you see the housing market, smash that like button right now and subscribe to EconoNova because we're tracking stories like these as they unfold. The data keeps getting worse. You need to stay informed. Now here's my question. What's the one thing in this video that surprised you most? Was it the reverse mortgage trap, the Medicaid liens, the $100,000 repair costs? Comment below. I read every single one, and I want to know what hit you hardest. This is EconoNova. Welcome to the apocalypse.